But I'm really excited about Pride next week. So reminder, no church next week. I'm really pumped about it. Bring your signs, wear some fun outfits. I've decorated my beard. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to meet in the parking lot of Logos before the parade begins. We'll probably meet at 10 and we'll leave at 10:15. Now, if you show up later because parking is going to be nuts, just ask the registration where we are in line. Typically, they put us in front of the movie theater every year, but that could change. So I'm not sure where we're going to be, so just make sure to ask registration if you get there before 11. But the parade starts right at 11 o'clock. We're continuing our march through the mysterious Gospel of Thomas. If you've never heard of this book in the Bible, it's because it's not in the Bible. It didn't get canonized. And we talk about that a lot. We think it was for political reasons. And we're going to continue that walk through this week. And I don't think there could have been a better verse than the one that we came to this week, because it parallels what's going on in this country to the T. It says this. You can read along with me if you'd like. Jesus saw infants being suckled. He said to his disciples, "These infants being suckled are like those who enter the kingdom." They said to him, "Shall we then, as children, enter the kingdom?" Jesus said to them, "When you make two one, and when you make the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, and the above like the below, and when you make the male and the female one and the same, so that the male not be male, nor the female female, and when you fashion eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in place of a hand, and a foot in place of a foot," this is a repetitive, "and a likeness in place of a likeness, then you will enter the kingdom." So what I want you to do, if you're new, I want you to talk to your neighbor, discuss what you see in this passage, and then we're going to share this wonderful conundrum, our thoughts on it together. I'd love to hear your perspective. Oh, we're pointing to Bob. You got volunteered. Are you up for it?
No, first thing I noticed is Kurt and Veronica were really, I think
Me too.
were tipped off. And, well, this is very difficult. But I think the image that Jesus was talking to was assembling infant, just bringing in all the nurturing and goodness. It's here. It's kind of like the kingdom of God is here, and we have to be beyond child. We can't even be male or female. We are just surrounded by goodness, and love, and nurturing. We have to give up a lot of our preconceived positions and notions and just appreciate some others know.
I love that. It's a very good observation. Good stuff. Who wants to follow it up? Yes.
So I think it's telling us that as long as we are focused on all of the differences and that we have problems, and that ultimately male and female do not determine whether you enter one hand is the same as the other. You know, it's kind of this idea that ultimately at base level we're all the same in creation of God, and that when we get to the point where we can really see that and not focus on the idea of self and other, that we can. But it seems like anything that's other is interpreted as, you know, a threat, or, you know, unknown, you know, and that's everywhere across the globe. There seems to be an aspect of, I don't understand this, and so it's bad.
That is true. Breaking the binary. Good stuff. I like that. Yes.
That kind of reminds me of the verse in Galatians. And so, yeah, that, like, once we've looked at everything as Noah is different, then we can understand that everything is the same to God. So, I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, that's good. I see where you're going with that. It's good stuff. I'll take one more. Who we got? Yes.
The notion of embracing paradox and integrating polarities, which works on both the inner spiritual as well as the outward-looking social gospel movement, quality and all of that. So, but it's very paradoxical. Because has a Zen koan-like aspect.
It is, and this book was actually meant to be mysterious. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. This book is actually designed so that you come to a deeper understanding of your own self-discovery. It's kind of like this very Buddhist-y gospel. That's the only way I know to describe it, like very Eastern gospel. So this verse, I did a little bit of studying in Coptic this week, which the Gospel of Thomas is written in Coptic. I was really excited to study it because I am partially familiar with Koine Greek. I am not familiar with Coptic, and I didn't know it was written in Coptic, so I've been trying to learn a new language and teach this to you all at the same time, so it's been a lot of fun. And this verse is actually, I think, describing conception. So when it talks about when you make the two one, that's actually a rabbinic phrase regarding intercourse. This is a PG-13 sermon, so I'm going to try to use big words that the kids don't know. So fashioning hands and feet, and the phrase lightness in place of lightness is probably referring to taking on the genetic traits of a parent. So this passage is actually referencing a rebirth of sorts. And I'm a little angry that I had finished my book before I stumbled upon this verse, because the title of my book was Reborn Again, and I was like, this would have been perfect for my book. But smack dab in the middle of this verse, and some of you talked about this, is something really interesting. You see, back in ancient times, there was no ultrasounds, and the baby's genitalia weren't revealed until birth, when the child was culturally assigned a gender term. So based on what genitalia the child had dictated whether they were sorted into privileged portions of society or the oppressed portions of society. And depending on that assortment of men or women, the misogynistic society of that day would have only given one sect, those with a penis, value, because it was a very male-dominated society, and unfortunately not much has changed. Am I right, ladies? Yeah. Yet these verses seem to be celebrating the moment of pregnancy when gender is unclear. It's like this passage is saying that the goal for humanity should be equality. Now, there are other verses in the New Testament that communicate a similar message. Galatians 3, very good, sir, says regarding Christian societies that there is neither Jew nor Gentile, slave nor free, male nor female. Equality and justice are implied when we follow the teachings of Jesus. Yet I have to say that the church has really done just the opposite in regards to upholding this ancient mission statement. Would you agree? This past week, there was a piece of legislation in Texas. It's up for review. And it states that people will be sentenced to death for getting an abortion. Sentenced to die. American Christians right now are so pro-life that they will sentence you to death. This is a serious, serious issue. It's been a serious issue. But let's be honest. This type of oppressive legislation coming from the pulpit, it's nothing new. It's not like this is a recent development with Christianity. Christendom has been using its influence to control and oppress others for centuries, which is all the more reason to be louder in the face of this growing extremism in our country. But coming before you all, and you all are familiar with our message here, you know that I'm never happy with this type of policy and this type of extremism taking hold in our country. And I come here week after week and rant after rant. And I just gotta be honest, it's hard. It's hard. Can I be brutally honest with you all for just a minute? There are times when I just don't feel like speaking on these issues anymore. I don't feel like it. I feel like we're hitting repeat all the time. And I know that's an incredibly privileged thing to say. And I'm ashamed to admit that I feel that way. But I'm just being honest, right? I look at our attendance of less than 50 folks on average. I see how we're doing financially. I know this is horrible. I'm confessing to you all as your pastor right now. And I think, things would just be easier and things would be more beneficial to us financially if we just talked about unity and joy in the universe, right? And we just dropped this social justice stuff. That's a temptation that I have. It's not a good one, but it's there. But I am reminded week after week with the realities that are emerging in our government, in this world, every single day, that letting go of our mission to make this world equitable and just is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Church, we have to pick ourselves up when we're tired, because there's those that are on the margins that are tired every day. The truth about our faith heritage has been hidden from the world for far too long. And it's times like these that we have to gather our strength and press forward. Because if we do not unseat these fanatics, and if we do not re-educate Christians in Christianity about the radically progressive nature of the Gospels and oust fundamentalist leaders as the bigoted manipulators that they are, then Gilead will continue to grasp those that are already suffering with a boot on their neck. It will take them by the throat, and institutional bigotry will continue to steal all that is good from this world. The fight is long. The campaign for justice is far from over. But we cannot tire, and we must not falter, no matter how repetitive our message is. It is critical to proclaim to the world that the abortion bans are oppressive and they do not reflect authentic Christian values, because they couldn't possibly. How can someone be so pro-life that they're going to execute people for making decisions on their health? It's not pro-life. Now, because of how taxing our endeavors are, young progressives in the community and outside of our church, even outside of the faith, they often inquire as to why I'm a Christian minister if Christianity is responsible for most of Western society's atrocities of the past and even the present. And they're not wrong. They're right. Let's be honest. The church has historically been in the front row wearing the weird number 1 foam finger on the wrong side of history. That's the truth. I remind these folks, authentic Christianity could not be further from bigotry and oppression. The gospel is a radical manifesto against hatred, against warfare, against intolerance, against greed, against inequality, and against bigotry. Christendom, on the other hand, that's something else entirely. It's a centuries-old institution that merged characters and sacred passages from my faith tradition with the agenda of nationalism and political dominance. It is a horrific traitor that stands in the stead of a genuinely beautiful and radically subversive system of beliefs. I remain a Christian and a Christian minister in order to use my influence and my voice to shout from the rooftops in hopes that one day we can decolonize the faith and dismantle this corrupt institution. And I do so with the best of my limited capabilities. And what brings me a great deal of solace most days is the knowledge that I am not alone, because I come before a miracle in this country every week. You see, I have the privilege of being a part of a congregation, a community that gets it. But we have to continuously speak to those that don't get it, especially when they're leading the charge in tyranny. Every week, more bills are rolling out from the Christian right, and the content of those articles of legislation are not Christian and they're not right. Yet fundamentalists are screaming at the top of their lungs that this is about a right to life. Since when has American extremism cared about livelihood? You won't deliver a wedding cake, but you'll force someone with a uterus to deliver their rapist baby? You won't stop carrying assault rifles, tools that are almost solely responsible for killing children in schools, but you will make someone with a uterus carry a 7-week embryo to term? You say anti-gun activists, y'all don't own any guns, so y'all should not regulate them. Yet almost no one in possession of a uterus had a vote in the laws that ban abortion. Finally, You say that you want freedom of religion in this country, but you won't stop using my religion to oppress others that do not share your archaic version of Christianity. And that last bit, it's particularly frustrating. It's infuriating because abortion is not even mentioned as a sin in the entirety of the damn Bible. I'm sorry, kids. Neither is cursing, by the way. However, what frustrates me more is fundamentalists. They will clutch their pearls because of my questionable vocabulary. And they'll use that four-letter word as an excuse to disregard all of my points, while they continue to throw their support behind a march of zealous tyranny. This is not about ethics. It is about intolerance and control of anyone that is not a cisgendered, straight, white, conservative, evangelical with a penis. It is not about life. If these abortion bans were about life, then they'd stop using the name of Jesus to destroy the livelihood of others, and they damn sure wouldn't celebrate bills that would execute people that make decisions for their health. We're at a crossroads in the church where every day we must make a conscious decision between two gospels. And until next week, may the peace of the Lord Christ go with you wherever it may send you. May it guide you through the wilderness and protect you through the storms. May it bring you home rejoicing at the wonders that it shows you, and may it bring you home rejoicing once again into our doors. Grace and peace to you.